Hello everybody and welcome to this video. This is kind of my first ever proper Very British Civil War battle report using the Bolt Action rule system as well, rather than Went the Day Well. So I'm stepping into the mainstream arena, and well, not mainstream, it's been slightly altered, but let's just go straight into it, because I'm not going to get into rules, because it's mainly going to be like a picture slideshow, just my voiceover, so I hope you don't get sick of my voice too much, because you're going to be hearing it for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Maybe shorter, maybe longer, who knows, we'll find out. The forces were my British Union of Fascists versus my opponent's Communists. On the first picture, this is my army. So I brought a second lieutenant. Most of them are inexperienced. If I don't say what rank they are, I assume they're inexperienced. A second lieutenant with a banner bearer and a attendee, a guy next to him. I also brought two rifle squads. One of them with an SMG from the sergeant, and both of them had LMGs, and also a regular rifle squad, everyone with rifles, and that's the German squad. You can see towards the back with the Pickelhaubes on. These are kind of like the Freikorps, which have been sent over to assist with the fascists, probably by the Duke of Brunswick. From the black uniforms, fits in quite well with the fascist outlook. So we've also got a Rolls-Royce armoured car with a Vickers medium machine gun, a Vickers light tank with another medium machine gun, the little sports car kind of thing, the Rolls-Royce, which I thought was quite cute, with the fascist flash in the pan on the back, and another Vickers medium machine gun. You're seeing a theme here. And also a crew of 3 shooting, another Vickers machine gun, and a improvised truck with a light anti-tank gun. So that was my fascist strike force. Let's move on to the communists, who had first of all a second lieutenant with a banner bearer and a guy next to him. I think it was 11-man infantry squads with LMGs, and there was also a commissar with a guy next to him, and a propaganda van, which was absolutely amazing to see. I loved it. It's given me a lot of inspiration for my socialist army, which I'm building up. There was also a Maxim machine gun team, which was regular. That's the NKVD figures that are there. So they've got plenty of experience at shooting people, most likely their own. And I think it was a medium howitzer. I could be wrong. It might have been light or it could have been heavy, but I don't know. It was some kind of howitzer, and that had a massive crew. And it also had there was also a T-26 with a light anti-tank gun, and a BT-7 with a light anti-tank gun as well. It might have been medium, I can't remember. But so that was the armies. It looks like they're kind of unevenly matched, but the thinking was that he had much better armour than I did. My armour was shit. It was probably like built in a garage somewhere. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. But whereas these are Soviet armour from the interwar. Proper servile in the army. So therefore, it's a little bit stronger. So let's go straight into the game. So it was the scenario 3 from the Bolt Action rulebook. We both placed our objectives and we came onto the board. So as you can see in this one, the fascists are advancing with absolute haste. We've got the Rolls-Royce on the left, and the infantry pushing up forward. And just here we can see the what we called Lenin Woods, because it kind of like became the centre of command for the communist army. So we had the howitzer in there, we had a squad of infantry, the commissar, and the officers all holding that with absolute proletarian grip. It was quite nice to see. It didn't last too long. So other than just moving forward, on the far right flank we had the inexperienced fascist black shirts charging towards the Soviet BT-7, and because they don't have any anti-tank weapons of their own, they thought, how about we just charge it and get into it, shoot at them and stuff, because we don't have any guns that can pierce the armour. So they're charging towards it, and as that's happening, the NKVD, well, they're not technically the NKVD, the Norfolk troops of some kind, started opening fire upon them. They're charging across this open ground, and they just think it's target practice. They only take out, I don't think they actually took out any of them. They did get pinned pretty badly though. So here we can see the Germans rushing up towards the house, hiding away from that howitzer because it's falling down on them. They're probably getting traumatic experiences, PTSD from their experience in the First World War, especially because it's the same cannons that were used in the First World War, a vintage artillery piece. And so looking back on the right flank again, it's going to be kind of jumping about everywhere because that's the nature of Bolt Action. There's the fascist machine gunner there, and as you can see in the distance, there is no more NKVD in that forest because as the NKVD launched out, they revealed their position, and the fascists thought, oh well, there's a big flash of fire over there. Let's fire at that, and they knocked out the communist machine gunner in one hit. It did exceptional damage, rolled a 6 to kill, rolled a 6 again, and it was knocked out, completely gone. So that was quite epic to see. It really hit back at the communist war effort. And that's kind of the table at the end of turn 1. No random events this turn, so it's basically just a fascist advance on all sides, and the communists are very much on the defensive there. So moving on to turn 2, no more random events this time, and so as the BT7 charges round the corner, hoping it gets a shot off at the improvised truck that was last turn, and it dealt a pin but no actual damage. So as we see at the start of this turn, I got the first dice, and the turret slowly turns around, has a pot shot, bang, and the PT7 is just blown up in one shot. And it was quite, this little crappy little van that was built in someone's garage took out a piece of the Soviet army, which was quite amazing to see. I mean, not for me as a fervent socialist, it hurt me, but getting into the shoes of the fascist foe, it was quite nice to see. So that's the right flank of the Soviets, the communists, already collapsed, and moving. Oh, however, though, it did come at a blow. The rifle fire burst out of Lenin Woods and destroyed the scout car. So we had flanking Lenin Woods, we had the Vickers light tank, the sports car, and the Rolls-Royce armoured car firing into the woods, only killing one guy, and they fired back and destroyed one of our cars. So a little bit disastrous there. But it doesn't equal a Soviet tank, so it's still looking okay for the fascists. And we see here more advance, more BUF troops charge into the forest, and machine gun follows after them, trying to secure the objective as the Soviet T-26 moves forward slightly. And so that's the end of that turn, basically. I think it was anyway. And so the next turn, we see the communists take charge of this ruined building here, and the Vickers light tanks spies that. The tank commander looks for his binoculars and sees a new target, so he drives round, puts himself between the two forests, so he's completely out of range of any other gun. It's just him, the tank, and the communists hiding in the building, and he opens fire. He takes out 4 of the communist soldiers. They're falling down, and they're having a pretty bad time, where it's like shooting fish in a barrel at this point for the tank commander, until they decide to burst out of the building. So as you can see, there's the fascists are slowly kind of curving round, ready to form a pincer manoeuvre. They're all firing into the building, and the communists think, well, we've had enough of this crap. We're just going to charge straight for that tank, and that's what they do. They attack it, and they actually set it on fire. It's burning away, and it takes 2 pins and down. It didn't destroy the tank. It was just burning away. So they're down whilst they're trying to sort out the mechanical errors. Whilst that's happening, the other the infantry squad bursts out of Lenin Woods along with the commissar. They're belting along, singing the Internationale as they're charging out, and as they do so, the Rolls-Royce just takes aim and opens fire. Only killed 2 of them though, but it's better than nothing. Serves them right for charging out. And the propaganda wagon moves back round to join the infantry and the commissar. So they think, let's go outside of the house now. They turn around the corner and they see these posters, unity, crying for socialism, and they think, we're not gonna have none of this shit. So they run up towards it, and they engage it in combat, and they actually push it over. They just straight up tip it over. So that's the end of the incessant loud noises. The propaganda be bursting onto onto the field. Although they probably didn't understand it because they're German. They just heard the loud noise, saw some posters, looked fairly left wing, and pushed it over. So moving on to the next term, disaster strikes. The BUF Legion has left its boot polish for jack boots back in the barracks. So my entire army had a morale bonus of -1, which was already starting to hurt because I was racking up pins at this point. So it became much harder for the early fascist mobility of just moving up the board. It all but vanished at this point now. But not until the fascist anti-tank truck moves back round the corner. It worms its way down the road and has a pot shot at the T-26 and just knocks it out straight away. So that's 2 Soviet tanks knocked out now. This piece of crap that's just been built in someone's workshop has knocked out 2 army-grade tanks. So they've probably won a medal from Mosley himself. I think they've definitely earned that. So moving on, the socialists open fire into these Germans and are kind of bewildered by being able to push over the truck, and 2 of them fall. They return fire and knock out 3 of them. So as you can see, the superior training of the German army is really coming through here. And they've got this bloody mess going on here. Combat with the tank, machine guns firing into the socialists as they're attacking the tank, and the unit there, the infantry unit, just kind of hiding a little bit back, is completely bewildered. First of all, they've ran through a forest, so their boots are properly mucky. Secondly, they're running through the snow, so the leather's broken. If you ever wore leather shoes in snow, you'll realise how broken they get. And thirdly, they left their boot polish back in the barracks, so they thought, we'll have enough of we've had enough for this battle, we'll just sit back in the forest, try and clean off the shoes a little bit, because as we all know, the boots are the most important part of the fascist uniform. It just goes without saying, jack boots. So that's the end of the game. That's the end of the turn. The infantry unit that bravely stared down the BT-7 is moving back towards the centre of the battlefield, whipped up by their officer and the flag in the forest, and the socialists have gone out on the offensive now. They've, attacking the tank and shooting down the Germans. Anyway, so a surprise as the next turn starts. The Rolls-Royce armoured car had been shot by the howitzer, and it was on fire. It had taken loads of pins, and the turret had actually jammed, so it was just stuck straight forward. It couldn't move, so it couldn't see the threat that was coming to its left. The crafty socialist comrade lieutenant had snuck round to the side, gone through the cover of the forest, and as you can see, the raised fist, the clenched fist flag, is hiding through the trees, and it's about to charge into the armoured car. Back to the centre of the battlefield where the action's going on, we see more combat here between the machine gun, the socialists, the tanks, and they're being gunned down slowly. And then you can just see here the socialist lieutenant charging into the armoured car, trying to deal some more damage to it, which it ultimately did fail. Back to the centre, the socialists have been slowly whittled away, so we've just got 3 of them left now, as almost the entirety of the fascist army is closing in on them. They're realising it was probably much safer in the building, actually. We're being shot from all sides, but at least we had a little bit of cover there. There's just a nice little shot, of the dirty fascist pigs running towards the socialists, the brave proletarian heroes. Not politically biased at all, don't worry. So, in this little bit of drama, the socialists have had enough. They've been rallied by their commissar. The commissar has been shouting proud words at them, inspiring them with great deeds. And they leave the tank and charge into the machine gun, and they knock it out completely dead in one go. So, they're quite infused at this point, until they're blasted away by more fascist gunfire. So they took out the machine gunner, and in absolute horror, the fascists are like, what? We can't let this happen, and they just obliterate them. So they're wiped off the table. As the Germans are actually destroyed as well. They took 6 pins. They had been attacked by the artillery, and the socialists had moved into the building, into the cover, and seized the objective. And the Germans were annihilated. They didn't know what was coming for them. Almost like World War One. So as the infantry was destroyed and the Vickers light tank had regained its morale, it decided to peek round the corner of the woods and take out the commissar, which it did. You know, it destroyed the commissar. He wasn't shouting any words down his megaphone any longer, until he realised it was all a trap. The howitzer opened fire and took it out in one shot. You know, completely blown up, and that was the end of that. At this point, that's the end of the turn. There's carnage everywhere. The fascist centre is completely held. You know, all we have left of the socialists is a band of few men in the building, the howitzer, and the brave comrade lieutenant attacking the already broken down armoured car. Until it gets to the end of the battle, and the officer gives the fascist militia a nudge on the shoulder. He said, "Boys, you do know the objective is to secure the objectives." As the militia had kind of got themselves to a bloodlust, you know, at the sight, at the smell of communist blood, you know, as the fascists get, wouldn't want to destroy their ideological foes. So they were too embroiled in the battle and forgot their actual objective was to secure the right flank. So the officer, you know, budges them. The sergeant screams at them, you know, "Get the fuck back, boys!" So there they go. They're sprinting off into the distance, but they get bogged down by the swamp. So by sprint off, I mean walk. So they're gently strolling over, whilst the militia, that's the militia in the centre, they're just securing their position, you know, making sure that objective is thoroughly held. And there's the scene of the carnage, you know. So we've got 3 dead vehicles forming some kind of dodgy triangle, and the socialists just holding out in the building, claiming their objective, being quite calm, playing the long game, which the fascists clearly didn't know. So this is just the end of the game now. We see a draw because the game ended. The fascists, in their bloodlust, forgot all about the actual game. Nothing to do with their commander at all. So that's what we see. There's the comrade lieutenant attacking the armoured car still with his nice little flag, you know, got to appreciate. And that's the end of the game. So I hope you enjoyed this battle report, and I hope my voice wasn't too boring. It probably was, but I didn't take too many photos because I was just trying to not disturb the flow of the game. I wanted to get into it because I'm still learning the system of Bolt Action. I've only actually played 2 games, and this is the first time with my own models. The first time was with some Soviets versus Bulgarians, actually, quite interestingly. But there we go. It was a draw between the socialists and the fascists. Probably if we did continue a little bit longer, if the fascists got the sprint on, it could have easily reached the other objective and actually probably won the game outright. But that's the way it was, you know, tactical disaster on behalf of the BUF. But that's befitting the stupidity of fascists anyway. So hope you enjoyed this video, and comment below if you want more, if this was okay, you want me to change the format a little bit, and let me know, because I don't have a clue. So I'll catch you in the next one. Bye guys.